welcome to Viewpoint from Overseas. I'm your host, Ms. Azam. With me, I have Mr. Riaz Haq and Ali Hassan Samantur. Faraz Darwesh is not available today for his personal engagements. He would be joining us next week. Today we will be talking on three different topics. First, I will ask my panelists their view regarding President Trump's new travel ban and how it is going to affect the overall tourism in the world, in the United States, and how much it will affect its economy. There are reports that due to that the bookings to the US, it's down by 65% compared to last year this time. And it is also said that for the leisure and business travel, support 15.1 million jobs in US, so they will be affected. Another statistic says that $4,400 per person on average is being spent per person who visits United States, which goes into the US economy. Emirates Airlines President Mr. Tim Clark said that they have observed 35% drop in the bookings for the United States. So I will ask my panelists about how they see it. After that, we will talk about, there is a new survey which is conducted by anti-graft right groups Transparency International, which is kind of telling the level of corruption in South Asian countries, some of the South Asian countries. According to the report, it is being observed that 69% people from India complaining that they have to do any work, they have to bribe, while China is 26%, Vietnam is 65%, Pakistan is 40%, South Korea 3%, and Japan is just 0.2%. So over the past year, it says that India was on the seventh number, which is higher than Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, and Thailand, while China has 73% growth into this trend, while India had 41% growth. So I will ask these questions to my panelists as well. Last but not least, we will talk about the PSL, this Pakistan Super League. It's a cricket league inside Pakistan. And recently, just last week, last Sunday, we had a final in Lahore. And there were a lot of it was politicizing going on that issue, and different parties have different views about it. Mr. Imran Khan, who is a cricketer turned politician, he kind of totally went against it. So as President Zardari, ex-President Zardari, he's the head of Pakistan People's Party. So Riaz, I want to start with you. Explain I gave you some minor statistics. Now please explain what else is there we have to expect with this new travel ban, and just explain how it is different from the one previously and what will happen to it, because previously there is a stay order on that. Riyadh.
Yeah, so the new travel ban order is for 6 countries. They've dropped Iraq from the list. That's one change. The other change is that they had a caveat in the last order that it didn't apply to minorities from these 7 countries. It meant that only applied to Muslims. So they have removed that caveat as a concern that was expressed as being illegal.
Now everybody, no matter
so
Christian,
every person from those countries is going to be affected, not just the Muslims. And so those are the 2 major changes. That.
May I interrupt you? Another question I want to add, and please answer that. So this travel ban is a temporary ban, or it is a permanent ban?
No, it's a temporary ban.
Temporary.
Yeah. And one other, I think, change is that the the ban on Syrian refugees is not permanent.
Okay.
And actually not indefinite. It's for a short period of time.
Oh, I see. Because
So
previously it was
it was indefinite. Yeah. So that's
yeah.
another change. So what's happening is that this is being challenged again, particularly, the Washington State Attorney General Ferguson, who had challenged it the last time, is now arguing that it hasn't fundamentally changed. The basic concerns are still there that were raised by the court. One of the concerns, for example, that was raised by the court is what was the intent of this order? And Ferguson is arguing that the intent was to ban Muslims, and still, all these 6 countries are majority Muslim countries. And before this ban, there's reports of a conversation that President Trump had. President was president-elect at the time. He spoke with Rudy Giuliani, his advisor, who used to be a U.S. attorney, to ask for a way to do this without
exactly.
running
He said it on the
into
Fox
legal
News,
issues.
That's correct. Yeah.
So that's one. The second issue is that it still applies. It doesn't pass the test for national origin. You cannot, under the Constitution, you cannot discriminate against people based on a national origin. So those concerns are still there. Third, the rationale. Why these 7 countries? Because the judge asked how many people from these countries have actually killed Americans in terror attacks, and the answer is 0. So that's still an issue. So what Ferguson is arguing that same order, restraining order that the judge had issued, should still apply to this particular order as well. Now, Hawaii Attorney General is taking a different position because they've just come into it. They don't have any existing orders. Yeah. Massachusetts is joining us, and a number of other attorney generals are considering joining this particular lawsuit. So that's going to happen. As far as the economic impact is concerned, I was looking at some data. The U.S. Travel Association, which is basically an industry group, says that the U.S. tourism is an enormous sector. It generates $2.1 trillion in economic output, and it supports 15.1 million jobs in the United States. Yes. And if you have any decrease in international travel as a result of it, which is what the indications are, a number of organizations are reporting significant drop, double-digit drops actually in future bookings. That it will hit these people, that it will be economically a disaster for this particular industry. Another issue is that this is one of those industries where U.S. has a large trade surplus. Yeah. That the people who come from overseas to visit the United States spend a lot more here than the Americans spend overseas when they go.
That's correct.
So there's more than $100 billion actually surplus in this particular sector, and that may erode as a result. Those are some of the economic concerns.
So, Ali, tell me, what President Trump is going to achieve with all that? These things what Riaz mentioned, these are not only one specific person saying, every expert is talking like that, and they're giving these data, some of them I also quoted here. So why he's doing, how you see that, and what do you think will happen eventually?
Now, one thing that was not talked about is that the previous order did not differentiate between permanent residents and visitors. Okay. So this time there is that the green card holders can come, even if they are from these 6 countries. Now, what he wants to achieve is very obvious. One thing is obvious, and he's saying that our security, the U.S. security, is at risk. People coming from these lands, which are chaotic, we are not really going through a process of screening them very well, although I think that the process is there. Therefore, these people, we do not know that when they come to this land that they have this intention to hurt us. So that is the the argument that is, the conspicuous argument that everybody can see. Now, as he would like to see. And then there is something which is more, which people think that the real intention is something else, and which has this element of.
Remind me who were what was the nationality of 9/11 terrorists?
Right. So all these questions are definitely there about, that why are you not, banning Saudi Arabia and all that. But still, if you ask people who support Trump, they would say yes, that is exactly in our national interest to not let these people come who believe in. There's this argument. If you listen to these right-wing radio shows and other, this is what the argument is, that these people are coming here and they want to bring with them the Sharia law, and the whole intention of this political Islam is to one day take over these lands, and we are just letting them
The
do
fifth
this.
columnist theory.
No, fifth columnists are the people like us.
That's true.
That when these people
that they will
would
come
take
there,
over,
yes.
people like us will not say anything.
Yeah.
We'll be just, basically supporting these people.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
my Indian friend believes the same thing.
That's exactly what I'm
That
saying.
is the way it is.
So that is, unfortunately, it does resonate with a large segment of the population, and but is that the majority of the U.S.? Probably not. But there are a lot of people who really believe that whatever Trump is doing is in the interest of the U.S.
I had a chat with one of my friend. He's very right wing. So he says that you guys are not understanding one thing here. This thing is initiating something. When it will be done, then Mr. Trump will put more and more and more and more, and it will go. And they quote what Jeff Sessions and these guys said in the first time when it happened, that this is initially we do, and we may add more countries, and especially Pakistan and Saudi Arabia and all that. Although I don't think they will ever do with Saudi Arabia, that is their ally. But that's what they say. That how you see that?
Yeah, I think the people who voted for Trump, that's what they want to see. It's basically motivated by essentially xenophobia, which in fact what they would like to see, as we heard from Jared Taylor, what they would like to really see is a complete ban on all immigration.
That's true.
Other
He
than
doesn't care anyway.
from the white countries.
Yes,
from
that's
Europe.
true.
Europe is okay. Anywhere else, they don't want any immigration. So that's really their real objective. In the meanwhile, what's happening is that the kind of hatred that has come out, that has surfaced itself in this country. Every time anyone from any country is killed or hurt or badly treated, these things make headlines in those countries. And they send a message that United States is not their friend, that the United States does not want to welcome people. And even a lot of the white people are getting caught in this because there was this case of a child, a book writer. Her name was Mim Fox from Australia. She was very aggressively questioned. In fact, she felt so bad. She actually complained about it. She was detained for several hours. She was asked very personal, private questions in front of everybody, and she was so upset. So these things made headlines in Australia. A Toronto newspaper, has written about this. That we should boycott the United States as long as Trump
because
policies.
people are taking it in.
So I think it is not only hurting the U.S. image abroad. It is also hurting. Will hurt economically because if they don't want to do business with the United States, that's bad for us.
You want to add something?
No. Really, yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in 1435, this is the fifth after the fifth emperor belonged to the Ming dynasty. What he did, he kind of closed everything. Actually, it started from 1421, and he closed everything. He destroyed all the maritime adventures they did, their records. They destroyed their navy and all that. and they made very strict laws to dealing with the outside people and move their population inside China. And it is said that that was the time when which decided the Chinese isolation for coming centuries. So this xenophobia never helps. I mean, it always make country weaker and weaker, and that's what we saw in the world. That if you open
Even
the
a large
history,
country like China, I mean,
That's
they
true.
have such a huge population.
such a huge population.
Even
So
they need to do business
they
with others.
need to do eventually. They have to
yeah, they
open
have to open
themselves up, and now they are going out and
now they have become the leader of free trade and global
virtually,
trade.
yeah, they are more capitalist than
Yeah.
communist now. So
No, after the U.S. essentially has retreated from these international treaties, trade, treaties, the Chinese are coming forward. They're supporting
that's true.
new treaties. They're trying to build new alliances and new treaties.
That's
with,
true,
with
and
their
they
trade
are
partners.
opening their for their west coast, although
Yeah.
they don't have an ocean, so they are making this one belt, one
through
road
CPEC.
through CPAC, and so basically we have to understand that this is not the way that countries progress, but obviously this is one of the time in the history which we are witnessing. So Riaz, talk to us something about Transparency International report. I gave some statistics and obviously just explain should we what it shows. I mean, is it anything very big thing, or it is just I mean, lot of these things happen. So
Yeah, so Transparency International does these surveys, called regional surveys. And this one they did a survey of 16
16
Asian Pacific countries that included India and Pakistan, as well as
Bangladesh.
countries like Japan and Vietnam, Thailand, South Korea. And the question they asked was, how many of you have had to pay bribes to get access to government services, such as education, such as healthcare, such as the legal system, the criminal justice system, the courts, the police? And they compiled that data. And what they found as a result was that the highest number of respondents who said they paid bribes was 69%, and that was in India. 69% of the respondents in India said that they had to pay bribes to get something done. Now, the next after them, after India,
Vietnam.
is Vietnam with 65%, and then Thailand 41%, Pakistan 40%. China was much lower at about 26%. And the countries where the lowest number of people said they had to pay bribes was Japan, 0.2% said they had to. I'm surprised even 0.2% because Japan, I know.
Because see, I saw it very surprising because usually the people say that it's a lot of corruption there.
South Korea and Australia recorded 3% each, Hong Kong 2%, Taiwan 6%. So it looks like the more developed a country is, the lower the corruption in those, particularly at this level. We're not talking about high level corruption here. We're talking about
tea money.
Yeah, trying to get little things done.
Yeah.
Now the worst part of it is for example India and Pakistan is that the victims of this are disproportionately the poor people.
I see.
The people who can least afford to pay bribes are the ones who end up having to pay bribes to get things done. And the data says that in the case of India, 73% of the poorest said they had to pay.
They had to pay
bribes. In Pakistan, 64% of the poorest said they had to pay bribes. In Thailand, it was 46%. So that is really the worst part of it, is that it's not just the figures are very different in China and Hong Kong and and other countries where and even Vietnam, where it's mostly the rich who paid the bribes.
I see. Not the
poor.
Yeah, because I would like to know more about this study, like these in the sample that they collected. Were these people literate or illiterate? Because what I think is happening is that, especially in Pakistan, that normally poverty and illiteracy, they go together.
No, but if I am totally illiterate and
Yeah.
you come to me and ask, do you have to pay bribe? I say, yes, I do. Or no, I don't have
No.
to.
So what I'm saying is that if you are illiterate and you do not have the faculty to question things and understand things, then you are more likely to be fooled by people who would make you pay bribe and do whatever they want you to do. So that's what my thing is, that
So
if
you're going into the reasons rather than the data itself.
Yeah.
So So I mean, I have to really look into this study more. But what I look at as somebody who is from Pakistan is this: that things are not very transparent in Pakistan. We had 5 people abducted, these bloggers, and they were gone. And then one day they come back, and there's this country of about 200 million people. Nobody says a word. The government does not say anything. Nobody wants to know where these people were who abducted them. That's for me.
No, but the
is a
stories are coming out now. In fact,
Yeah,
the
BBC
newspapers are
BBC.
no, Pakistani newspapers.
uh-huh. Yeah.
The Nation has published it. Dawn has a story on this.
BBC
So
today.
it's not
Yeah.
See, what happens is after these people came back, they didn't talk to anybody for a while. Now
Yeah.
they're talking.
Now they start
and all that
talking,
news is being published in Pakistan.
Yeah,
too.
it will come for sure. I mean, like Salim Shehzad's story came later.
So I mean, it can't be
come.
hidden for long.
So that is. I mean, that's what I see the ground reality versus what the numbers are saying about how we think of it as if, that somehow we're doing better than India. I think that the ground realities speak for themselves about how bad things.
No,
are.
the idea for our discussion here is not that we are better than India or worse than India.
That's what it looks like.
It is that's what your analysis. But the thing is that this is a report.
Well,
and we can
40% is
discuss.
very high.
Yeah.
And especially when most of the 70% of
Yeah.
those are affected are poor.
Yeah.
That's a pretty serious.
See, because 60,
business.
69%, 40%, it's statistically in these kind of things, it's almost same. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's just.
I mean, the thing that I
yeah.
read here is that the more developed the country, the less the problem of these.
That's true.
I'm talking about now. These are small bribes
Yeah.
for little things.
Yeah.
High level corruption probably exists in a lot of these countries, even at the top. In China, for example, has a lot of corruption at the high level. And so do these other. I mean, South Korea, the president just, got fired because, she was engaged in
That's
corruption.
true. That's true.
So there's a difference. I mean, these are people that are kind of routine tasks, routine things that they want to get done, and they're having to pay bribes to get those done. That's the difference.
That's the difference, yeah. So let's move on to other topics. Ali, let me start from you. PSL. Last week when we were talking, you and I were here, and you and I were kind of arguing on that, and I was saying, no, they should go instead of getting scared and fear. So how do you see that? It all happened, it worked out very successful. Lot of people who were not supporting it, they start saying, yes, it is good thing we did. But still, Imran Khan and Mr. Zardari, they are still saying one after the other statement. Mr. Zardari didn't give any statement.
Right.
Imran Khan gave one after the other statement, and he's trying to make Now there is a news that there is some international team is coming in September. And Mr.
Which international team is coming?
Some World 11
World
or
11.
something.
ICC is going to put together.
Yeah,
the World
ICC
11.
is going to bring that team here in September.
Yeah.
And Imran Khan is challenging, first of all, nobody will come. If they come, they will be, quote unquote, all those junk of the cricketers, whatever he says. And how do you see?
Yeah, so first of all, this was a very successful thing, that nothing bad happened during this PSL final. So that was the very comforting thing. But at the same time, what did we achieve by having this PSL final in Lahore under so much security? What did we achieve? Yes, it was a feel-good kind of thing, but have we convinced the world that Pakistan is a very safe country where anybody can go and people can play? I don't think so. So that
No, so why ICC announced that we will send World 11?
I have to see who would come. I mean, you can announce whatever, but we saw how international cricketers, they just refused to come to Pakistan. So and then there were some who came definitely, but so I have to see how it actually happens in the end if this team
So
really comes.
just that ICC came out and say, okay, you got it this time, so we are sending you again. Don't you think it is a change? It is what happened that happened. I mean, it is far away.
Yeah.
But don't you think that this is the immediate reaction of this thing?
I don't.
If we could not have it,
Yeah.
would ICC say the same thing?
I don't know about this, that if this one single event made somebody, feel so secure about Pakistan. I don't think so. But definitely other people, we have been talking to ICC, so maybe somebody convinced them. But then in the end, it is up to the players if they feel safe in Pakistan or not. So I doubt if people would be feeling
According
very
to
safe.
Najam Sethi, that ICC challenge Pakistan that show us you can do it, then we will respond. And we showed them and they responded. How you see that?
Yeah, actually, security is an important part of any major event. Whether it's the Olympics or the Asian Games or the Football World Cup, they have heavy security in all of these places.
Yeah.
So having security is not the point here. We should have security because these high-profile events become targets of these kinds of attacks. Now, going to a little bit through the history, the what brought these foreign teams' visits to Pakistan to an end was an attack on the Sri Lankan team in Lahore. And that's what destroyed confidence. They thought that, hey, these guys couldn't protect us, that there is a problem in this country. And to restore confidence, it's going to take some time. I mean, you have to hold these events. If you don't hold these events and show the world that you can do that securely with safety, then you're not going to be able to restore confidence. So it's important to have things like the PSL final, have other events, and show that you can execute these events flawlessly without any any incident. That is going to bring people. It's not going to happen in one day, in one particular game, in one event.
You have to bite the bullet. You have to do
but if you don't do it, that confidence will never come back.
Never come back. Yeah.
So I think it's important. Now, I'm a little disappointed in Imran Khan for his behavior. First he opposed just having the game there.
No, first he supported, then 7 days later he opposed.
Yeah, and then after the game was over and it went very well. I guess he was a little embarrassed. So what he did was he then said that, hey, all these players you brought, you just got a bunch of picked up people from Africa or somewhere.
That was
it was such a racist comment, very derogatory, extremely denigrating. And these the good players. I mean, this guy Darren Sammy is not an ordinary player.
No,
I mean, he led West Indies to the World Cup's win twice, and he actually was a member of the team that won the World Cup for West Indies. So to say that he's not a world-class player is just nonsense.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Yeah. So
and then call these people, say we just paid them so they came.
No, this is very.
This is really very disappointing. I think we expect better from these people.
Yeah, but most of the media is trying to defend him. They say that
forget media.
Imran Khan he is a non-traditional politician.
He is a top-ranked leader in Pakistan. If he expresses this kind of attitude toward holding international events in Pakistan, I don't know. It just makes it more difficult for Pakistan to restore confidence. Now, I know why he's doing it. He just wants to make Sharif government look bad. And whatever he can do to make them look bad, he wants to do it.
That's true. Just 1 minute each I will give. What happened, Ali, in Parliament between the PMLN's Javed, Lateef and PTI's MNA fight over there?
Yeah.
What was that? How do you
No,
see that?
I heard about this. I've not seen it, but very disappointing, and I'm not sure why. It always happens in in our countries, be it India or Pakistan, that we see this kind of behavior. The people who we trust that they would be the lawmakers, they get into this physical fight with each other. So that's very disappointing. I don't have any much to say about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think it was obviously bad. I mean, the guy was questioning, one member was questioning the other member's sisters,
Yeah,
raising questions
that was very low.
about them by saying that, hey, they have been having these affairs
Yeah.
with Imran Khan, which is just nonsense.
This nonsense.
Absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah.
A parliament member should behave better.
Yeah.
But I was even more disappointed when when Murad Saeed actually punched this person, and then Imran Khan defended him.
Not
And
only
he said, I would have
defending,
gone further. I mean, what kind of nonsense is you're basically encouraging this kind of violent behavior?
Yeah.
There is a difference between verbal abuse and physical abuse.
Yeah.
You're basically saying that physical abuse in response to verbal abuse is okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
We need to be a little better, more civilized than this.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was all for today's show, and we heard our panelists. There is a very interesting thing which Chinese president said once to Pakistani President General Musharraf when he was in power, that he talked about the investors, and he said that investors are like those pigeons. They are all sitting there and eating. You go there and you clap, everybody goes. Then they don't come right away, they come one by one by one. So basically, the way I see it, PSL is one of that effort towards the right direction. Keep on watching Viewpoint from Overseas. This is your host, Miss Basan.